Going live. See that scene. Show you the scene.
Make the scene
I
happen.
think it's coming through. Come on, YouTube. Come on.
It is. I see it swirling.
It is?
Yeah, we are
Excellent.
live.
Excellent. Good now. Right now, wherever and whenever you are, you're probably at home. Bad coronavirus joke. Yeah, okay. Yeah. I'm gonna get slapped down big time. Yeah, on the show today, we're looking at multi-window chat for Microsoft Teams, among other things. Plenty of stuff to talk about. Let's roll the intro. Yeah, okay. I apologize, Dan. Gotta rein in those bad jokes, don't.
Uh, no, I think we actually in these times we need to have a little bit of humor going. Now, whether you have good humor or bad humor, that's up for people to decide. But
Thank you.
and me
Thank you.
too as well. I'll give you a little bit of a cringe if I don't like it, but that's okay. You can,
Yeah.
as long as you're having fun.
Yeah, well, I'm having fun. We are having fun. Yeah, there's a lot going on, obviously, and maybe we have a larger audience because people are working from home. But we're kind of wanting to encourage this as an online community. I'm gonna figure out what's going on here with our signals here. Probably pushing stuff too much, but anyway, we'll fix that up soon in the show. We have Suzanne Hunt and Phil Worrell joining us in the chat room, and I want to check a bit later on in LinkedIn, Periscope, and Facebook too, maybe, because we're pushing there as well. Just wanting to send out some general encouragement to those who are working in the Microsoft 365 space. Daniel, what's going on in your world right now? Big question.
Well, it's the same thing, that everything's going on. I think, adjusting. I work from home a lot, but adjusting to everyone else working from home and, clients calling and saying, hey, we're having to work from home. So can you help us figure this out? So it is, this adjustment going on is definitely, something that we're all having to work through. And I'd like to say one kind of effect of this is we talked about this in the show last week about, I called it throttling of Teams, but it's a changing the experience in Teams. One part of that is video. And as longtime viewers and listeners to the show will know, we, as a show, use Teams to communicate with each other and then broadcast out. So if you're looking at watching the show on YouTube, then and others as well, then you will notice that there may be sometimes when my video goes lower in quality. Now, some of you
Apart
will
from
probably be
general
glad.
lower quality. So.
Yeah, some of you will be glad that that's happening. That the quality. That was a joke. Anyway, so I noticed that it was doing that a little bit earlier. So just to let you know, that's just the world we're living in. But that's how things are going with me. How about you, Darrell? You all right?
Yeah. I think I racked up about 80-ish hours last week. 20 of those were spent attending Virtual MVP Summit, so managed to do that. Then I did my regular hours of stuff, but this time it was focused on preparing my org. Hey, Joanne. Preparing my org to work from home, and then all the extra hours after work still doing the same. We'll actually go deeper into that regarding 365. We're thinking of doing a episode 2 of our hackathon we did a couple of weeks back, because we want to address user adoption a little closer, because that is the current problem at the moment. As people are rushing off to work from home, that everyone needs some help getting used to working from home, using the technologies, forming just some basic skills around that, forming a beachhead. Because from there, once we can communicate with each other, we can start working on other stuff. So yeah,
Right.
we'll get back to you about that event hopefully, and maybe early next week. We'll see how we go. Yeah. So yeah, lots of ideas and stuff. Oh, hello Sandy as well. So let's crack into it
Let's
and
jump into it.
yep. First message. I'll just line that up over here to start with. And I'm sorry I didn't quite get to check that comparison. So we go. Interesting.
Those of you that are in the audio, you're probably like, what in the world's going on? Darrell's moving windows. He's a window mover, not
I
a
am
window
window
washer.
mover. Window mover and washer, yeah. Wipe on, wipe off. I just noticed something just different about how I'm doing this, and I'm not sharing my screen with you, am I?
No.
No.
It's okay.
I've got this yellow bar around behind it. It's a new feature updated with OBS. Let's get on with it, Darrell. Just can it.
Let's just get on with
Let's get on with it. So our first message, SharePoint mobile app supporting customized themes, MC 206623. And this is a new one, isn't it, Daniel? It's something different.
It is. In the there's a couple things actually changing here. The one that it's talking about, you'll notice, is allowing your theming, so color, as well as your logo from your SharePoint site going and being viewed in the SharePoint mobile app. This is a change from previously that didn't happen. So that's what's happening for this announcement, being able to use that image in your text, the color. The text is also changing a little bit too, which I like as the font. So that's nice. The caveat to this is that you have to use a different type of icon. So make sure you're doing that. It is the SVG format of the icon, which is a vector graphics icon for your logo, not icon, for your logo. If you don't, then it won't come through on the mobile app. So if you want it to, then you're going to have to switch to using the SVG. And that's outlined in the message itself.
Yeah. Good message. Good message. Yeah. The format of this message and the things that is covered, most informative. Well done. What I would, summing it up, the big change there is it's just you're able to bring your brand in, and there's just a few tweaks around how content's presented. When I read this, I thought, custom sites. Does this mean that if you've done a little customization, it's now going to be presented in the SharePoint app? It isn't that. It is, however, that if you're using customizations that are sanctioned and out of box, they will appear and display. We have audience targeting in site footer and hub navigation.
Yep.
Yeah, and this the navigation of a site, that's been something that we've enjoyed for a while. Targeting navigation of, even thinking of Classic, SharePoint Classic, a mechanism for saying this menu is available to you because you are from this group, this division, this whatever you're targeting. Nice to see it coming to the hub navigation. So that hub navigation is something new again for anyone who can access that hub. And in the footer, I should say MC 206671.
Good job, Darrell. I was ready to throw that number in there. You're exactly right. So being able to target, and there's if you read this message at the bottom, there's 3 links, really good information there for you to read up on how to utilize this. And so there's a couple of things I want to make sure people realize. First of all, it is site admins that have to turn this on. Okay, and this is or site owners. So this is not a tenant level or anything. It's the site owners. Anybody in the site owners group will be able to turn this on. And once they enable that in the site navigation, then editors, any site editors, will be able to target menu links when they create them to specific audiences. So know that first off. The second is that you can only use Office 365 groups or security groups here. So what some people have done in the past is using SharePoint audiences. Remember back on SharePoint on-prem, we could create audiences, and that could mean you could create an audience to say, look at people's profile information and whatever the department is. If the department's HR, then put them in the HR audience. And it was kind of a dynamic thing. You update them in AD, their profile information, and it would update their membership in an audience. This is only using Office 365 groups and security groups, which is a physical thing. You're having to move someone in and out of a group. But being able to get this targeting, I think, is a huge improvement to it is adding to the news targeting and such, to where you can get that specialized or specific experience for your user base, so that you could target them with information, navigation, as well as news and such, so that they're getting that personalized experience in their intranet.
If it's turned on and set at the site level or site collection level, let's talk a little about where that is. That's if you have a Microsoft team, well, that's a whole site collection. If you have a communications site, that's a whole site collection. A hub site is a site collection which allows you to connect other sites to it. So this is about enabling it for hub navigation and site and footer navigation. If it's got to be enabled at the hub level and all the connected sites to that hub.
Right. So for the hub navigation, it would be on the hub. And so when you're editing the hub navigation, that's where you would do that targeting. So this is going to require some planning from a perspective of each site. Those site owners need to plan how they want to use this or not. Remember, you don't have to use this. This is not something you have to turn on. And then for the hub, that is a site collection itself, right? And so you need to think about your site navigation of whatever site that is the hub site, and then also the hub navigation, how you want to plan that, if at all. Again, so the trick here is, and I think what some third-party internet in a box solutions, specifically one that has sponsored our show before, but we won't name them because they're not sponsoring this show, but this episode. They do some targeting based upon whether you have permissions or not, which is different, right, than just putting yourself in an Office 365 group. So it's not that. It's just if you're a member of a group, which means you need to have a good handle on your management of your groups, right? If you don't have a good handle on the management of your groups, meaning when someone leaves HR and goes to a different department or whatever department it is, then they need to be removed from that group, right? And if you don't have a good management practice and governance in place, then using this audience targeting will not be as beneficial as it could be.
Yeah. Trying to do something tricky there. It's not quite working. I was going to bring up whiteboard so we could draw some of those scenarios up, but we'll save that for another day. Yeah, like you say, it's going to need planning. We probably were a bit backwards in talking about this next part on that topic, but why would you use audience targeting? Maybe some organizations are new to audience targeting. Audience targeting for navigation in site footer and hub navigation. What's the benefit of using audience targeting and navigation?
Well, it really is that personalized experience for your users, meaning if you have a link to a site that is for HR, I keep picking on that department because I was using it before, then if you want to put a link to the HR site in your navigation, but only those members of that HR Office 365 group have access, then why do I, as an IT person, not in HR, need to see that link?
Yep.
I don't, right? So I would put the audience targeting for that group on that link, so that if I come to the intranet or to this hub or site, I'm not going to see that link to HR. And it's one of those things where, you don't want to show things to users when they don't have access to it. Right?
Yeah.
So this is a way of doing that. Now, it doesn't necessarily have to be that. It could also be things about a regional. It could be about not just access to a site in particular. Maybe that just, hey, I need to target a link to this specific group of people because they are practitioners. Maybe they're doctors and nurses and such. And so
it's just
I want to target
them to the right information, so they don't get overwhelmed.
Personalized experience.
Yeah.
Right. Personalized experience. Yep.
Yeah. Cool. Yeah, lots more to talk about there. Each one of these messages is a bundle of fun, right? We'll move on.
Yes. Well, this next one is a bundle of fun.
Yeah.
Darrell. This updated feature, device management support for collaboration bars. That's MC206748.
Collaboration bars. Let me get one out of my pocket and chew it right now because I'm low in collaboration.
Well, I'm just thinking, is it a bar? We're supposed to stay away from bars and restaurants right now, social distancing. So this is rolling out for customers in March 2020, and then be completed March 2020. Which, guess what? It's March 2020.
Yeah. Okay. What's a collaboration bar?
What is a collaboration bar, Darrell?
You're talking about I think we've seen it for the first time at Ignite 2018. But a lot of meeting rooms have big old screens in their rooms, and they have a conference phone sitting in the middle of the table, a couple of cables, and maybe 50. One or two of them are working. But a collaboration bar is a quick way in a device to put below your TV, a bit like a sound bar that you might have at home, so it projects the noise a bit better and gives you a theatrical experience. But a collaboration bar gives you a collaboration experience because it probably has a webcam in it, definitely has conferencing phone facilities. There might be a button or two to hang up different things as well. So device management for support for collaboration bar you're able to manage it centrally. What we're seeing here in that screenshot is the Teams admin center, so you can jump in and you can create certain profiles and things to manage those devices rather than having to rush around meeting rooms and tweak those. Now, I know that's not a problem right now, maybe for some who might still be at work at this stage, but definitely I want to go get a collaboration bar now, and I wouldn't mind having like a nice big screen right behind me with that collaboration bar. We all want a Surface Hub 2s for everybody, right? No.
So
I'll have to talk with our legal team about that. Sorry, legal. I'm sorry.
we need to get some more sponsors if we're going to be buying some of those hubs.
Yeah, that's right. Admins will be able to create configuration profiles for individual device types. There is nothing you need to do for this change, right? Except if you're an admin and you're interested in Teams, and basically, end users aren't going to need to know much about this, but it's giving you more powers to configure and manage them. Let's look at Secure Score, updated feature.
No.
You got another one?
Yeah, the SharePoint start page.
Okay, you talk about it. I haven't got that one.
So this is one we've talked about before.
Okay.
In fact, we talked about this, I guess, in October. So this is about, remember, they're changing the SharePoint start page from just a listing of all your sites and as cards. as well as, your favorites and suggested sites. They were going to change it to where they had some of that, but it was going to include news from sites, and then it was going to have sites, and then some featured links and recent documents and such, and things you've saved for later. Well, this one, it's come back. So it was updated about 4 or 5 days ago. And it says, and this is MC 192001, at this time, based on usage. I think that's key here. And I don't know the answer, and I'd like to dive in more, but we won't, because I don't know the answer. But why? What do you mean based on usage? They're going to stop the rollout of the updated SharePoint start page experience. So after April 1st, all users are going to be using the previously deployed SharePoint start page. So it won't be the new one. And they're going to, any future updates, they're going to release it, and be on the roadmap and the message center. So this is a complete rollback. And also, if you are if you're in targeted release for your tenant and you set it up previously, remember one of the parts of this was it would, if you set up a SharePoint home site, then the start page would get the branding as well, right? The navigation, the branding, and the footer of your home site would go to this SharePoint start page. Well, that's not going to happen anymore because it's rolling it back to the old one for the SharePoint start page. So just know that you're going to lose your branding from your SharePoint home. It will not apply to the SharePoint start page anymore. So just wanted to make sure we announced that and covered that, because the first time I read this, I was like, wait, they're getting rid of SharePoint of home sites? No, that's not what's happening here. They're getting rid of they're rolling back the SharePoint start page to the previous version.
Right. But we will see it again, maybe, at some point. Yeah?
Maybe. I don't think there's any promise here, but I would think they would do something, but maybe not. We'll see.
All right. What do we got here? We've got back to Secure Score. There's just an update to it. MC 206238, updated 18th of March. So that's past.
Yeah, they're basically, they missed their deadline.
They missed their
deadline. It's supposed to be March 16th
okay.
rolling out, but it's now coming next week.
Okay.
This week, I guess. Yeah.
Okay, cool. So some updates to how that operates. Go check it out in episode 13 something. maybe we'll link it in the.
This
in
is
the
just top. Well, there were several, but this is the Secure Score, in the action updates. So they're just, all it is a timeline change.
Got it. We'll have a look at the next one, which is end user spam notification messaging, MC 206724. Beginning April 17th, changing the quarantine notification to provide more clarity on the action, which is always good to give to people who are receiving stuff like that. Examples here in the message are, before was quarantine notification. You have 6 messages that were quarantined. Good-o. Now you've got review these messages. Is that the only change? I'm going to review these messages. So like one is, you've got quarantine messages. One of them says, hey, you really should look at them. You may want to update your training.
That's all this is. Yeah. Is that it's, instead of saying quarantine notification in the email, it says review these changes.
Oh, good.
And instead of saying this many messages were quarantines, it's saying this many messages are being held for your review. There is some confusion around quarantine in that, users don't understand why they even get these. And quite frankly, a lot of these times don't even show up in the focused inbox anyway. So they have no idea they're coming. But this doesn't fix my problem with quarantine messages. So I'm like, whatever. The quarantine email is actually pretty, and the quarantine process in whole has been reduced in functionality over this past year, and it's pretty worthless in my opinion. It has a little bit of worth now, but it's it's lost most of its worth. So yeah, they're changing it. I don't think people read these things anyway, and so changing the language within the email doesn't help at all.
Well, let's talk a
Sorry.
little about, yeah, let's talk a little about what people are dealing with in terms of messages. We have messages that come into focused inbox, if you're using it, by the way, because some people turn it off. They don't like it and they want to just deal with things as they come in. I love it. Then you check your other message inbox, message view of your inbox. Then you've got spam or junk mail or whatever it's called nowadays. Now you also need to check your quarantine. You've got other folders that light up because you're using mail rules and you're pushing things into different folders. All these different places to check, and that's just email. Quarantine, where is that going to rate? Well, a daily daily digest here of we haven't just put it in junk mail, but it's actually in quarantine. You won't see it in junk because we thought it wasn't safe to show you.
Yeah, and I understand the levels, Darrell, of the levels of having quarantine being that company-wide, catch to try to catch things that are, I don't know, unsafe is the right word. There's different scoring things. It's spam as well. So it's not necessarily just unsafe stuff. And then there's this, like you said, the junk folder for each individual user, which is it really is determined on the mailbox level. And then there's the inbox, and then the focused inbox, or you called it the other, and then the focused inbox. So it just, there's these different levels, and I don't like how quarantine is this special place over here, that you have to go to after you receive an email. And then the other things are in your mailbox. And so I think for users, and do you agree that users just get you have to go to so many places and check for email. It's just confusing, and I just don't know that they do too many of it.
Yeah.
I
think my advice would be to people, so what do you need to prepare for this change? Apparently nothing for end users, except maybe update their training documentation. This is what I would add. The message is going to change. Occasionally, if you get sent stuff that's dodgy, then it's going to come through as a quarantine message. You might want to check that as a fourth and final resting place for a message if you're expecting something from someone important. So it'll go into focused if you're interacting with them. It'll go into other if you're not. It'll go into junk mail if it might have something that's just suspect in terms of, this could be boring or not even useful to you. And if it's dodgy, then it's got a higher score. It's going to sit in quarantine.
Can I just suggest something? And I don't think, you can't change this. At least I don't think you can. But what I would rather have is quarantine emails, a pointer showing up in my junk. In my junk
mail
folder. And so that it color it different, tag it different, make it act different to where I can't even read it in Outlook. Make it say, when I highlight it, it say you have to view this. When I you do the preview, you look at it and it's supposed to show the message. Maybe you just say, this is quarantine, click here to actually see this. Do something like that. So just remove that extra step. That I think would be better way to handle this than what it is. Now, that would only improve it slightly for me. I think for users that would help and improve it. It still is lacking functionality that we used to have in it, and so it's not as good as it used to be. But I think combining that in one view would be best, is my opinion.
We've got a few more to get through. What have we got here? We've got notification in Outlook to obtain Outlook for iOS. Yeah, you're shaking your head already. Me too. When I started typing this out, for iOS, Android, and mobile. Okay, so MC207028. That will be an attention-grabbing title because you're like, what does that even mean? So you need to then dig into the detail. Beginning end of March, Microsoft will start to notify users in Outlook that they can get Outlook for iOS and Android on their mobiles. Is that what all it is? It's just an advertisement.
It is. It's an advertisement. That's all it is. And it was like, but
You're already
Come
telling
on.
them in 4 places.
Exactly. And so, yeah, it's just an advertisement. That's all this is. Your users are going to start getting notifications that they can have a mobile app
Okay.
install.
So when you add your account to Outlook on the desktop, you get reminded there. There's a tick box, and if you don't untick it, you get taken to a web
Pop up.
page. Yeah,
That's
when you
right.
go to Outlook on the web, you'll get a similar kind of notification occasionally. So now you get a further notification in Outlook, and if you haven't already done so, it's another reminder. Probably not much more to say about this, except that
Nope.
at least for European Union standards, I think they've had to tell people that this is coming. Maybe that's about it.
Yeah, and I think you can turn it off, but this is the worst. Okay, so that was bad enough that it's just an advertisement basically saying, "Hey, you can get mobile app." Yes, everyone should have the mobile app. I'm guessing that their telemetry is saying that no one does, or has not having enough, but everyone should have a mobile app. Done. But this whole opting out business
Yeah, complete a
is
form.
ridiculous. It is so ridiculous. I don't understand why this would be the case. There should be a PowerShell or something. I mean, give us something that
form.
no, this is a manual process. You
Oh,
have to
wow.
fill out a form.
It's literally a form. It's a Microsoft form. I've clicked through to
It's
it.
a Microsoft form. You
Option.
have to fill out with your tenant ID. Do you know how to find your tenant ID, Darrell?
Well, there's a hub article there, but I know some helpful people in another org that probably could sponsor us have got a great site that does this for you.
Yes, but we won't mention them either. Not by name until they sponsor. But they have a website that you can look up your tenant ID. But it's ridiculous. It is ridiculous. I remember if you wanted to opt out, do you remember if you could opt out of notifications from it was Flow back then, but Power Automate and Power Apps? There would be a link at the bottom of the email that says, if you don't want to receive any more emails, and this was from workflows. So, if you got assigned a task, there was a link at the bottom that says unsubscribe.
Yeah.
And so if you click that link, you were unsubscribed. Do you remember how you had to get resubscribed so you can actually get emails from Flows? There was an unpublished Microsoft form. It was just word of mouth, passing it around. Oh, you unsubscribed? Oh, go fill out this form and we'll manually remove you from the unsubscribed list. Microsoft will. So there's some support person who's now tasked with, oh, I received another form request. I've got to go and turn off the advertisement for Outlook. Oh my God. Anyway, soapbox. I'm stepping down. Stepping down.
So, the thing about soapboxes is that there was soap in them. Be careful, right? I'm just going all proverbial on you here. But if you're on your soapbox, there's shavings of soap. You start sweating and crying as you get across your passionate message. The moisture goes down there. It wets the soap. Off you go off your soapbox. Just
remember
saying.
that joke thing about...
Yeah, stop joking. All right, next message. And we'll keep this one brief because there's some more interesting stuff here. But for those who do need to know, updated feature for 365 Message Center encryption, updates to enhance email authenticity. Definitely all about trying to let people know this message truly is from me, and that's one of the points about using certificates and encryption is it's legit, even more so.
And this one is MC207058, and it really is about changing the link that's at the bottom for privacy statements, so you can have your own company privacy statement and not use Microsoft's default one. So if you want to do that, there's some PowerShell on how to do that.
Right. Now we get to our headline. I can almost hear the applause and roar of the crowd as this is said. New feature, multi-window chat for Microsoft Teams. Yeah, because Teams is about the hub for teamwork, bringing things together, but at the moment it is a single pane, which sometimes is a pain. And unless you use different tabs in your browser, then you don't get that multi-window multitasking experience. So MC207218 is bringing in multi-window chat for Microsoft Teams. Do you remember where was that announced this past week?
I don't know where you're going with this,
Oh
Daryl.
no, I was just going to say, like, there was quite a bit of talk and chatter around this because it was the 3-year anniversary of Microsoft Teams going GA, and this was one of the things that was wrapped into, hey, look at what we're releasing and what we've done.
3
So
years.
how does this operate? I think they've got a screenshot down here somewhere. Here we go. So you can. This is only in chat right now. Going to the chat app within Microsoft Teams. Remember, the equivalent experience if you're using Skype for Business it's Skype for Business. It's one-to-one chat. So we do have chat within Teams, so we can have one-to-one or one-to-many conversations. If I want to pop that out so I can hold many of those conversations, I can see Hilda is really excited about multi-window chat, that you can pop these out. Use the ellipsis button beside that chat, whether it be a single person or a group chat, becomes a multi-window. I would say this is probably good timing as it's going to be released soon, and as we're working from home, we can manage some of those multi-conversations in multiple windows.
Well, and I think, yes, I'm excited about this, but for maybe a different reason than some. Some are really excited because you can pull out these, just like Skype for Business, right? We could have multiple windows open for different conversations we're having. What excites me about this, and not only that, but you can pull those out and be working in Teams, right? So you can pull out your conversation. What excites me really is the promise of what's ahead. Honestly, I don't use the one-to-one chat as much as I use everything else in Teams. So for me, the promise of, hey, could we do this for other things in Teams is really what makes me excited about this. This is the first step in maybe doing this for other stuff too, within other functionality in Teams. So that's what really excites me about this one.
Yeah, I agree. It's good that they're starting small scale on something like chat, exactly. But the multi-window around working on documents, yes, please. Although your multi-window is open it in the full app, right? Let's be honest, people. Or the browser kind of gives you that multi-window experience. What else could we like for multi-window? Different apps that have been pinned as tabs. I want to open up Planner. Okay, well, again, it opens up in a window in your browser. What else?
Right.
Well, what are you going to be excited about when it comes to other things? I know. The various pieces of a meeting. Yeah.
Yes, that's the biggest one for me is bust out a meeting and be able to. So last week, a perfect example. I'm in meetings and I'm in there's a meeting going on and there's some chat going on. There's some looking at documents going on in Teams. And so how do I do all of those things? Well, you can, but when you click out of the meeting to go to chat, for instance, the meeting goes right. Yeah. And it gets in the itty bitty window and you can't see what's going on. And so you're chatting. If you try to look at a document, hey, everybody, let's, you're in a meeting. Hey, everybody, let's check out the workbook titled Q1 results. And let's check out the graph on this worksheet 2, and so everybody goes, well, now the meeting window's, and you just can't really see anything. Well, we all have multiple screens now. Not all of us, but most of us now do. And being able to, have the meeting up on one screen and then looking at a document at another within Teams, I just feel like it's natural to do that. Why? So anyway, that's what I'm really looking forward to eventually.
So collaboration within a meeting, that you share that document, you can see it on your presenter screen, but then everyone else can open it up on
well, that's the great promise of Teams, is it not, Darrell? Is collaboration in meetings, collaboration instead of meetings. Just like, so that's the great promise of Teams, and so that's what I'm really looking forward to.
Cool. Yeah. All right. Well, promise of something more to come. Finishing off with navigation updates. in desktop and mobile browsers, MC207287, we're changing how SharePoint and OneDrive display the collapsed navigation icon for desktop and mobile. Before and after, we have moved the hamburger menu.
Oh my.
Yes.
Yeah, that's all this is. And remember, this is the browser on mobile.
Don't touch
and
my
it's
burger.
The browser and desktop. It's the browser and the desktop if you shrink the window. So so all it's doing is, if you remember before, the navigation was up on the top in the sweet bar, which is the very top, and you couldn't get to other applications. Now it's moved down to where the navigation is, so that you can interact with, the hamburger. You can interact with the sweet bar and the links there. So
let's see if I can bring this through now. It's not coming properly. We'll have to look at that sometime. Some of my scenes are all screwed up. I was going to bring it up and show and talk about it, but yeah, that hamburger menu.
And this is for SharePoint and OneDrive. So yeah, it's just bringing that down so you can have access to the app launcher, right? So the app launcher of launching all of your Office 365 apps, as well as the navigation for your site.
Got it. Cool. And that is it in terms of content from the Message Center. I know that we might have some deep dive chat on one of these topics. Maybe we can rustle up someone to take us deeper. But yeah, keep an eye out, as I said at the top of the show, that regarding 365 will run another hackathon to help work from home. We're thinking about individuals, but we're thinking about teams and organizations as well. Our first hackathon was really successful. We've got teams of people together to work on intranet solutions, security and compliance, Power Apps, Power Automate. We had teams. We didn't really touch very well on user adoption, which is the current challenge. So we're going to try and focus on that and gather together a few people, maybe even a special guest if we can do it. But yeah, that's the idea. So keep an eye out for that. And what would you say as something finishing off here for? I know the US, you've been working from home a lot longer than here in New Zealand. We're just hitting level 4 tomorrow.
Yeah, I think just my last word is stay home. I think people are they're taking this social distancing, meaning, okay, I can go out and do whatever I want as long as I stay away from people, for a few feet. No, stay home. Just stay home. I don't care what your governor, your mayor, your president, your prime minister, your brother, your mother, your I don't care what they say. Stay home, and tell them to stay home. Stay home, stay home, stay home, stay home, and only go out for groceries. That's it. Stay home.
That's yes, my advice too. The only way we're going to get this virus sort of well clear is flattening that curve. See if I can find something to link to in the description, but there was a really good explanation of why this virus and viruses that are similar to it spread so rapidly. Basically, they are mutated from an animal virus, and because of that, we as humans don't have any memory within our DNA to fight it, whereas a regular cold we do. So this is why it's so hard to find a vaccine, a cure, or whatever to protect us. The best way we can do this is to isolate and just let it burn itself out. So do your part. Yeah. All right. Well, thanks everyone.
Home.
Stay home. Yeah, stay home. Just stay home. Stay home.
And listen to our podcast.
And stay home and listen to our podcast. All right. We'll catch you again next week, episode 138. But you will hear more from us throughout the week regarding 365 and friends. Bye for now.